I believe that in the coming days, understanding the difference between wisdom and knowledge will be a matter of life and death. And while we're used to collecting knowledge quickly and always having it available at our fingertips, wisdom does not come so easily. We can't quickly become wise. I don't want to turn this into a book, so there will be some generalizations in this video. There will also be some points that I don't touch on, and counterpoints I don't address. There just isn't time for all of that. And from now on, I'll be using knowledge and information interchangeably, because information is the type of knowledge I'm referring to in this video. I'm not talking about collecting experiential knowledge, which over time does lead to wisdom. Today, knowledge has a much higher position in the value hierarchy than in previous generations. We often value it more than direct personal experience, more than working, socializing, more than romantic relationships and raising children. There's too much to discuss about why those have become less valued, so instead, I'll only talk about why collecting information has become a highly valued status symbol. There's a lot to know in our complicated world, so it makes sense that specializing in knowledge and having a lot of knowledge is essential to making our world work. But there are less benevolent reasons we value information too. First, being learned or appearing to be learned is an easy way to impress others. Second, having a lot of information offers the appearance of having adventurous experiences without ever having to actually do anything courageous or brave to acquire that information. Third, when we collect information, we aren't exposed to the risk of rejection or failure as there is with personal relationships, careers, and competitive sports. Fourth, information has no barrier to entry. It's readily available to everyone. We don't even have to get out of bed to receive it. Fifth, information is cheap. Actually, it's as close to free as anything that exists. It only costs us the time we spend acquiring it. Sixth, our government and society promote unnecessary education as if it's a right, not a privilege. And certainly, they don't present it as the burden and waste of valuable time it often ends up being. And seventh, seeking information literally gets us high. Not figuratively, literally. So there's a commodity out there that impresses people, doesn't require risk or courage to acquire, and is really easy to collect. It's basically free, and it gets us as high as earning money and doing illegal drugs. Of course we're going to prioritize it. Why wouldn't we? Well, I'll get to that. Many of us have come to replace valuable aspects of our lives with the pursuit of information. We tell ourselves that collecting information gives us a better understanding of the world around us, and that our ability to act well in that world increases. Not only is that an excuse for why we actually endeavor to be habitually informed, it's also not true. It's a source of false confidence. Information does not equip us for life nearly as well as we'd like to think. Think about this. Not all information is accurate. And even if you get accurate information, it might not be relevant. And even if you get accurate, relevant information, it might be incomplete. And even getting accurate, relevant, complete information doesn't mean there's a guarantee that we'll know what to do with it, when or where and how to apply it, or even be able to recall that information later. Think about how much information you've acquired and lost. For me, it's probably 99%. That's not time well spent. So we've adopted the pursuit of information as one of the most noble pursuits in our society, and almost no one is speaking against it. So we pursue, along with billions of other people, find our value in our collection of information, only to find ourselves lost in the sea of supposedly informed humanity. We are a billion people talking at each other, valuing our own opinions more than anyone else's, with no listeners to be found. So we talk louder, and we divide into groups and subgroups and microgroups, because maybe if we get a small enough group, someone will listen to us. Someone will be willing to hear the information we've collected, and therefore be willing to hear what value we have to offer. And then they'll stop asking us to do things like take out the trash, because we're thinkers. We're not doers of menial chores. After all, we're part of the educated class, which encompasses everyone. So why should any of us work? I mentioned earlier that information literally gets us high. Well, I want to share a study with you. According to this study that I've linked to in the notes, the parts of our brains activated in pursuit of information are also activated by the pursuit of money, food, and recreational drugs. And the study suggests the brain uses the same kind of neural code when responding to amounts of money and information. To me, this suggests that we're prone to believing that collecting information is taking care of ourselves as much as earning a living is, or even more so. And in certain circumstances, that's true. In times of acute crisis, gathering new information is more necessary to our survival than the pursuit of food, clothing, or shelter. When a major earthquake strikes, our windows are shattering, and the building begins to crack up, finding an exit is far more important than staying at our desk to process paperwork for that next paycheck. Nobody's making sales calls during a real crisis. Likewise, during a less acute crisis that's, let's say, 6 months away, gathering information might not be the highest priority. If I'm living paycheck to paycheck, collecting income is going to be more important than collecting the right information for that future crisis. But collecting that information might be more important than developing strong social relationships, which won't matter if I'm dead in 6 months. So what I'm saying is that how we perceive our own safety will often determine how much we value and pursue collecting new information.